How are you?
Oh, I've been better.
Yeah.
Ruth is in a rehabilitation center in Catskill.
Oh, did she have a fall or something?
Yes, she fell and broke her hip
Oh, goodness,
Sorry.
and had to have a full replacement.
oh,
Oh, goodness.
jeez.
Oh, my.
When did she have the surgery?
3 weeks ago.
Wow,
now.
okay.
Is she
So she
walking?
was in the hospital about a week and a half.
Yeah.
All the med. And
So
she's walking a little bit. You know, I actually got her up on her feet 2 days ago. Take a few steps,
Mhm.
and the physical therapist is that's there, is working with her on that with the walker.
Mhm.
But I got a call last night from the nurse on duty who said that she tried to get up and walk on her own
Oops.
and slid down to the floor and didn't hurt herself, but
Oh, she didn't.
no.
Oh, good.
And then another call this morning saying she did the same thing. So,
Hello.
you know, her Alzheimer's keeps me from
Like really.
remembering that, no, I'm not really ready for this.
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
I think I don't know whether I did the wrong thing by sort of encouraging her. I had a bit of an exercise session with her and, you know, had her move around her upper body and have her, you know, stand up as well. But, to do it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That is complex.
yes,
I'd say.
but at least it's close now. You know, to Albany.
No, much closer.
All right, how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5. That's a quorum.
You're a quorum.
That's a quorum. All right, I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
Anyone, anything else? All right. well, this is really-
Michael's gonna eat the lunch, but
You're good, we're good.
All right, call meeting to order, all in favor?
Right.
Aye. Great, here we go. Accepting the minutes from last. Yes, all in favor of accepting the minutes?
Yep.
Aye, great, all opposed? No, perfect,
I
great.
abstained because I wasn't here, so I don't know if it's.
I think we have enough ayes, I read
That's
them.
so.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, great. Accepted. New members, real quick. I spoke to Joe today and he is not interested.
Oh,
He is interested, he just does not have the time or the, he can't right now. So he might in the future. So that's where we're at with new members, is that we need more, we need 2. The budget meeting happened since the last meeting. We submitted a budget for next year for 23,000. When will we know? When does the BA?
There's a presentation of the budget at a special meeting this Friday.
Okay,
The council, then there will be a public hearing followed by another council meeting specifically on the budget. That's all on the city calendar.
okay,
Sorry, Thursday is the special meeting for the budget presentation at 6 p.m.
this
Then
Thursday, this coming
Thursday, then next Thursday is the public hearing on the budget. And then the special meeting to adopt the budget is just before the regular meeting on the 21st.
Okay. All right, anyone wants to go to the public hearing and speak in favor of the CAC budget? For more tree plantings? I think we could do that, I guess. Do we want to do a quick status of Arbor Day? Do we want to talk about tree ordinance first, since we have Margaret?
Pardon me.
What do you want to talk about first?
your choice.
All right, Margaret asked to be at the top of the agenda
Okay,
regarding
let's
tree
do that.
ordinance. So Margaret, would you like, you said you had 3 minutes update, you told me.
Yes, very briefly, just want to let you all know that the tree ordinance was discussed at the legal committee last week. We are still working through some things with it, so it will be going to the legal committee again, and perhaps you might want to, one of you might want to attend that meeting. A couple of areas that we think we would like to change. As you've written it, you have indicated having 7 members on the commission, on the board. We think that may be difficult to get. So we would recommend saying 5, encouraging membership from all 5 wards. It could go above 5, but setting it to a smaller number. We also feel that, we need to define arborist, and some of the activities that are listed for arborists, we think may not need to be done. It might be overseen by an arborist, but not necessarily done by an arborist. Let's see, I did send the edited version both to Rich and to Hillary. There's also language in here that we would like to talk to you about around the property owners who, it's under tree restoration and mitigation, the first bullet, which is property owners who have any tree removed. So we think that this is something we need to discuss with you. We think that that would be probably very difficult and controversial to implement. The second piece, which talks about public trees, is a different issue. The second piece, which talks about new development and so forth, is a different issue. But the way this is worded right now, we think that might be problematic. So what I would recommend is I will continue to work with Crystal Peck, our lawyer, on revising it. I will keep you all in the loop with edits that we've got. And then perhaps you could attend the next meeting to go over what we've got on the revisions. And that's pretty much it on the tree ordinance.
When is the next meeting, Margaret?
It's always the first, let's see, we switched it. It's the first Thursday of the month. So it'll be the first Thursday of December. But in the meantime, I will be working with Crystal on this, and I will keep the CAC up to date on revisions as we do them.
December 7th.
December 7th.
The only other update, Rich, I just want to mention that we did bring the community aggregation piece to the legal committee also last week, and that will be going to the full council. It'll go to the informal and then to the full council. And that's all I've got.
Okay, so just to go back to the tree ordinance, so we'll have a CAC meeting prior to that legal meeting. So I forwarded the Margaret's amendments to everyone this afternoon. So if you can review that, and then we can talk about that at the next CAC meeting, which will be the first. Oh, you know what? Right. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're right.
No, you're
The
right.
next CAC meeting is the 5th of December.
Yeah.
It's the 5th. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, fine. So we'll talk about on the 5th. And then if you have more revisions, Margaret, can you forward them to us prior to the, and then we can discuss, I think that's before the next legal meeting. How's that sound?
We will have more edits.
Okay, hold on, Hillary.
Margaret, the version, the Google Docs version that I got today with Crystal's questions on it, I answered all but 2 questions, and were you able to see my replies?
I don't think I saw that. I'll check my email again, but I don't think I saw that.
Well, see, that's what I don't understand about how you do Google Docs, because it says, as I'm typing on it, it says reply to, and I replied to Crystal on her items.
I don't think it was in a Google Doc. Margaret sent a SharePoint.
I sent a Word document. I sent a Word document with comments, and I don't think that's Google Docs. I think that's the updated version of 360, where when you're replying to a comment, you have to post your response, but then it gets saved in the Word document, and you have to send the Word document to whoever you want to send it to.
Okay, so I will send you the Word document. I did all the things prior to that. Great. I'll send you the Word document with the answer to a lot of the questions, but the last you raised a big one that we need to discuss at the CAC and figure out how we want to answer that. So, thank you very much, and thank you for doing all the work on that document.
Welcome. Well, thank Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah,
All right, so the next steps are, you'll respond to Margaret's document.
I will.
I forwarded to everyone, so Margaret, I forwarded to everyone their CAC email address, so everyone should have it at your CAC email address. And then Hillary is going to respond. We can then talk about the revisions at the next CAC meeting prior to the next legal committee meeting.
So when I send it to Margaret, should I just CC everybody in the CAC?
Sure,
And
yes,
Crystal?
sure,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
yeah.
When are you gonna send it? Cause if, let's say if I had a comment, should I send it to you? That probably makes more sense than sending it out to everybody at this stage. Just send it to you, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll be sending support.
All right, so just discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I think that makes sense,
Yeah.
because that could get a little
It just crazy,
unwieldy
Yeah,
for Crystal to
exactly.
be, and Margaret to be like,
dealing with all of us.
right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay.
Okay, so that's tree ordinance, and I'm sorry, and so the CCA, is that gonna be in the legal?
Yes, we discussed that as well, and I believe, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that is ready to go to the informal, and then it will be reviewed and voted on by the council.
Any revisions?
There may have been some minor ones, I don't have it in front of me. I will send it out to you, I'll send the version out to you that we're going to be discussing in the informal.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much. Okay, great. Margaret, I guess that's it for tree ordinance, so you
Yep,
want
okay.
to?
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
very
Margaret.
much, and thanks for putting me first.
Yeah,
Thank you, Margaret.
you. All right, done.
I'm done.
Hillary, Arbor Day.
It was today, all the trees got planted.
Amazing.
A big
They're
round of applause.
beautiful. They're beautiful, the team worked really efficiently, and, you know, everything that we had asked for, they had wonderful, you know, mulch and compost and things to amend the soil, and it's really well done. Happy with it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
Nine
is it the
trees.
template for
Nine
next
trees.
year? Hillary?
9 trees, right?
9 trees.
Is this the template for next year?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
I think it makes sense to have it done professionally.
Yeah,
We
I
can't
agree.
do it. We can't do it volunteers anymore, no.
Yeah.
There's too much.
Okay.
We can do a ceremonial single tree volunteers to, you know,
Not bad idea.
for brownie points.
Yeah, even underplantings, how about underplantings?
Under plantings, yes, that
Okay.
volunteers could do, yeah.
The trees themselves are cumbersome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Did we get some photos? Good photos?
I got a lot of photos. I will let you judge if they're good.
Carol Ostrey got some good photos.
But she did, oh, good.
all right, so what's outstanding then? I have not received, we have to receive an invoice that has to be approved by us before it gets paid.
And you didn't receive that yet? You didn't get it via Heather or?
No, I'm assuming it's coming. No, Heather does not have it. I asked Heather.
Okay,
So.
Our office actually wound up approving their initial invoice because
Okay.
there wasn't a meeting between
Oh.
when we got it and when it needed to be
Right.
paid. So the next one will forward to you. We haven't received their closeout. They wanted two payments.
Right. Okay, well, maybe we'll get that before our next meeting then, December. Right,
but we're.
I'm sure we'll get it in the
Yeah,
next
we'll
few
get it.
days.
That's fine.
right. So do we need to approve that first, or can your office just approve that?
You can just, if you want, then our office can just, you can approve it via email, basically.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
All right, that sounds good. I mean, does anyone have any issues if we just approved it, right?
I was just
Everything-
curious how they were to work with overall. It seemed like at the beginning, everything was going smooth. I just haven't heard recently.
It, wonderful, really, every step of the way.
Great.
All right, great. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for coordinating. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so that's Arbor Day. Next, we talked about tree ordinance, we talked about community choice aggregation, great. The tree grants, do you want to talk about the Harry Howard and or the round 16, we're gonna reapply for that?
Yeah, so the round 16 maintenance grant is due at the end of January. And we'll definitely be able to meet that deadline, given that we've done most of the work for that application already.
Right.
So grant writers are poised to do that for us. The question, of course, is updating the inventory and if we need to spend a little bit of money in order to work with a contractor to do that. I'm thinking that I will probably reach out to Sweet Tree since I think they've done most of our removal work recently anyway and see what they might be able to do. When they responded to the RFP for the previous iteration of this grant application, they identified already a number of trees that they knew were no longer present in our inventory. So I have a feeling that we'll be able to work with them to be able to chop the list down so that we have a more narrow scope to go out for this for a new set of estimates.
I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Okay.
Because it's not easy
Yeah.
and they did seem to really know like each tree personally and
Yeah.
whether it was still with us or no longer with.
Yeah, totally.
How many trees are we talking about?
I don't remember. Honestly, I think we had estimated in the 60 to 80 in terms of
Yeah.
removals initially, but that number is gonna be lower because we lost a lot during the
During the
storms over the late summer.
Right.
So I'm guessing we'll be in the 40 range, maybe. It's hard to say
All right,
at this point.
right, okay. All right, go ahead.
We were just discussing before this meeting on the Harry Howard project that because the bids that we got, the estimates that we got back originally are now pretty stale. We're gonna rebid the project and also do a bit more outreach to get some other new folks who have come recently with our other tree plantings to send us some estimates for that project to happen sometime in the spring.
All right, great. So do we need to follow up on that then, or? Which?
Yeah, I mean, just if
The spring?
there is no
Action item,
we'll just check in on it at the next
okay,
CAC meeting.
perfect. Just keep it
There,
out
I'm
there.
sorry, there is one other aspect of that grant that we needed to clarify. What was it, your understanding that we could hire someone, a landscape architect from Hudson to actually plan the layout of the trees for?
Yeah. For the Harry Howard,
Right,
yeah, there was part of the budget was for the arborist supervisor, which is effectively, I think, what you're
Yeah.
asking for.
Yeah. okay.
Okay, and that's part of the grant.
Yes,
So maybe that aspect of the project should get going before we send out the bid because it will be more exact.
yeah, I think at the time we knew who it was gonna be, but now we don't, so we should put that out first, for sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so that's a question mark. Okay, great. Anything else on that, on the two grants? No? Moving on. We had talked about and Vicky brought this up about the front lawns, amending the city code, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we decided to go with the state recommendation, which was 10 inches as opposed to the city.
Yeah, I think we did. I don't have my notebook with me because I couldn't find it, but we made a decision on this for sure.
Right, okay, so I sent that back to Vicky, I haven't heard back,
Okay.
so, just making sure that I'm right on that one.
But we definitely did make a decision about it, and it'll be
Okay.
somewhere. I don't remember them being in the notes. Don't-
Oh, yeah, no, I
I
think
don't think they were in Linda's notes, I can't remember now.
I have to go back.
Anyway,
I
but
can
we
go back.
definitely can go back.
But
One of
that,
us can
I'm just
find it.
confirming, right, that's what
Yeah,
we said,
we're
right?
good,
Kenneth,
we're
just
good,
right, with
yes.
the state,
Yeah,
great, okay,
exactly.
good.
Yes,
The heat pumps, we had some news that, we have 5, I sent in the scope document back in April, I just got back news that there's been 5 heat pumps installed in the city of Hudson. So I filled out another form and uploaded another form, which still needs to be approved there, so that's where that is.
okay,
And then, if it all is, then it has to get blessed by, I guess, code enforcement or something like that, to make sure that, so anyway, it's moving along. And I think that we have 5 heat pumps installed in Hudson, but they gave me the addresses and I'm not 100%, because Hudson is kind of big, so I don't know if it's.
Who's
City of
giving
Hudson.
you the information?
The state,
Coordinators.
yeah, the
the
coordinators,
coordinators, I forget her name.
yeah, the Kelsey is.
Right.
But, so yeah, anyway, so if it all works out, the Wizards are Wizards, if it all works out, then we'll have, then we got money to spend on something.
Is it 5,000?
It's 5,000 for the first round, yeah. Although one of the reason I say that, because one of the addresses was Hudson Route 27.
See, that's what I was just gonna ask. Do you think it's possible that NYSERDA is, because it has this Hudson zip code, including, it could be Roxbury Road, it could be Route
I know,
27, it
well,
could be Greenport.
I'll send you the addresses. 4 of the addresses look totally fine, like Union Street, Coney Street, blah, blah, fine. And then the one was Route 27, I believe, or something like that, which I was a little questioned about. So we'll see. That's TBD. So that's to be determined.
Okay.
And have you spoken to, code enforcement?
No, I just uploaded the form and I'm gonna.
Because they would have records of such things. You know, it's not a huge project, but in some cases, but it's big enough so that somebody might have gotten a building permit for it.
Right, it doesn't get approved until code enforcement blesses it, so,
Is
yeah.
that, is that true for all heat pumps then? The code enforcement has to bless all heat pumps, you think? I don't know,
I don't-
because I looked into putting one in my house and I was not told about that, but that doesn't mean that that's.
Well,
This is only going to
depends on the
certain
nature of the work.
Right,
I went from
that might be the key.
a pure air conditioning unit to a heat pump for my ground floor. And we didn't, I mean, it was just a swap of a box. And it didn't
Exactly.
require much other work. It was all done in a day. And there was no building permit.
Right, I think that code enforcement is just okaying that, for that there's certain vendors to do for the grant purposes. And I think, from my understanding of it, I don't know, I'll forward the information.
You know, we could find out about a lot more that have been installed heat pumps if we talk to some of the main plumbers around, like ST Hudson and Byron Parker.
That's smart.
I think not.
Yes.
Cause I'll bet there's more than 10 new ones in Hudson or something
Oh, I
like
think
that,
there's many.
that we just wouldn't know.
Yeah, I feel like just walking through the alleyway, you see so many.
Yeah,
different-
exactly.
All the businesses that have been renovated, like there's plenty
Yes.
that are just probably aren't registered in the same. system.
Right.
Does anyone want to take on heat pumps?
I have.
I'll call ST Hudson and a couple of other, I actually deal with them, you know, because they're my plumbers, so I'll talk to them.
They were gonna come fix my
Who,
phone.
I can reach out to a couple of people, there wouldn't be that many in town that would install. them.
No, there's only a handful that are
Like
licensed. to
Harry
operate.
Halgo, I don't know if he would, but maybe, I'll find out.
And I had Brightcourt come to my house to give me a quote, and they said that they install them all the time in the Hudson area.
Who is this?
Brightcourt,
Brightcourt.
they're in New Paltz, but they come over here because there's quite a demand of trailer.
Yeah, I don't know what the grant requirements are exactly, so, yeah. Anyway, I'll need a garden for cemetery.
You're looking at me. What am I, a bee?
What do we need to do? Is that
I think that we need to come up with a concept and bid it out and,
All right,
but let's see where our
budget.
budget is. But we would
After
want to
this.
do it on this year's budget, right? Because we'll want to use the rest of this year's budget.
That's
Use
the
it all
issue.
up before it gets taken away.
Oh, that's interesting. Why? You think that there's money that hasn't been
Spent?
What are you talking?
Yeah, and we're talking about, the possibility of doing a pollinator garden right at the entrance of
Yes,
the cemetery.
But how much money are we saying that we have not?
Well, we're waiting on this final invoice.
Right.
So I wonder how we could start that process and integrate it into this year's budget, since technically this would not you wouldn't really be able to begin with until early spring now. The actual planting, though,
Right,
we could
right.
certainly identify the person who could do it between now and the end of the fiscal year, which
There won't be enough money left over that it would,
it
we
would,
wouldn't have to
cover
bid
that.
it out.
right, that's true too.
Because
It
it's
would
gonna
be
have
such a
to be
small
under,
amount.
like, it's gonna be, like, if we have $1,500, let's say.
Yeah,
Let's just say that's what it is. And we could spend it right now, perennials and plants, they're pretty much on sale. We could
50% off possibly.
probably get a lot done.
Could it happen?
I mean,
this
we
year.
did already have frost.
I think we could ask a couple of, contractors to see if they'd be interested and could do that. I mean, I'll reach out,
What about the people that planted the trees? Would
Yeah.
they do a small
I'd reach
project
out
like
to
that?
them and see if they could do a small project like that.
Have we spoken to anybody at the cemetery though, to make sure that they're aware that we are discussing this?
No, we're still just discussing.
Okay, so this is still, yeah,
Well, would somebody like to speak to
No, I'll
DPW?
talk to
See
DPW.
if
That's
it's
fine.
okay?
That's fine. I'll talk to DPW.
Is it something we have to run by the common council?
I don't know, what do you think? Tom, should we run, I don't think so,
Well-
right? If
well,
you were
the-
doing a
For the
pollinators,
funds to be debited from our account.
that's true.
Ultimately,
What kind of funds were you talking about? I thought it was pretty low. Didn't you
yeah.
say-
Yes. Very low.
About $1,500.
Yeah, that would have to go before the council because it's over
Okay.
1,000. Under 1,000. And no, the project itself would not have, I mean, the idea of planting or not is not, that's up to DPW, not us.
Okay,
Okay.
Right.
yes,
So I'm sorry, so it's $1,000 is the threshold, of whether or not it goes through the council.
okay,
Okay, all right, well, that's good to know.
yeah.
And we probably only have like 1,500, you think?
I don't know. I just was putting that out there for argument's sake. If it's less than 5,000, yeah.
All right, so first we'll get the final invoice. I'll ask Heather how much money we have left over. And then,
We'll go to the council if we have to.
yeah,
Oh, we need to make sure that we have Linda's all of her invoices for the year too, so that we know what we have.
right, that is a separate
That's a
line
separate
item, separate budget
Okay.
line, yeah, that's a separate line item,
Thank you.
yeah, no, that's,
Good.
yeah. Different, okay, so I'll follow up with Heather,
And DPW, just have a chat with them.
right? Great. All right, next. Climate, the workshop, I don't know if these are the same workshops that were just attended at Columbia Green, climate vulnerability and climate workshops.
Yes.
It's the same update. And
There was one was it last week?
Just today, actually.
There was one today?
Oh, no, the update.
The update came
Yeah.
in today, yes.
An update came from Audrey Crop at CCE. That you all received, that the draft vision statements for each community are gonna be sent out to us soon to distribute out and get feedback on to be included into the county's plan. So each community that's participating has their own little section within the plan that has a vision statement and sort of priorities that have been identified through the planning process in terms of the climate adaptability.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So do we have a contact that she's going through, or is it just went to all of us?
She's been sending it to me and I assume you as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I think you attended as well. So, and then I forwarded it earlier today to the CEC. So it should be in your inbox.
Okay, and is there anything we should know about?
I think just take a look and see if it's, and there'll be more information coming. It's just sort of a quick update today.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So we don't have to make any decisions
No.
right now.
No.
Great.
With like visioning statements and then strategies. Do we know, Michael, I missed the tail end of the meeting, when the next, is there gonna be another one of those community meetings?
I assume so. I don't remember them setting a date though.
So that's where that's at. We have everything in our inbox. I'll forward it to everyone. Look at this, sorry, oops, sorry. Okay, next, solar panels on municipal hardscapes.
I reached out to Ryan, that's to be continued, I haven't heard from him yet.
I just got an email back.
Oh,
We got an
you did?
email back from him. We both did,
Oh,
I think this morning.
okay.
So what's happening is basically he's not gonna be on the comic. I think he submitted the grant, but I think it's gonna end up on my plate. So,
We'll do, I have the list
oh,
of everyone,
okay, fine.
there's several, in fact, potential contractors.
Oh,
And names of people who are, so we have a lot to work with when we're ready to do this.
okay, great. So, all right, well, we'll check our email and then we'll
Yeah,
circle back then.
all right,
next time.
fine.
Great. Climate Carnival,
Next July.
2024. I know we're planning ahead.
Wow, that really is a record.
Which date in July? Is that?
And that was July. What does it mean? Do we need to do something? This was the thing that was at, County Fairgrounds last year,
yes,
right? We should have a table.
We kind of should, shouldn't we?
yeah, a bunch of the other CACs
They
did,
all have tables.
right,
Yeah.
Another day.
We could have a table.
I'll volunteer for the table in July of 2024. I feel so
You might regret
confident
it.
about that.
We're holding that to you, Marie.
Okay, fine.
I'm holding it
I'm
to
good,
you.
I'll do it.
Months from now. I don't know what to, okay, well then you're gonna have to put together the information on the
Okay.
table too.
Yeah, oh,
Alright.
great, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, you
Figure it
got
out.
it, you
And I
got
can
it.
strategize with you about what's at the.
All right, cool, yeah.
I don't know
So,
who goes to.
Good thing we got plenty of time.
Everybody.
a lot of different people, a lot of kids.
Oh, really?
We need to have something for kids.
Well, see, that
Oh.
determines what goes on the table then.
That's part of it, yes, but, and the parents are standing there with the child in most cases, so it's an opportunity to, while the kid is engaged, you can talk to the parents about stuff that they can do, individually as a household.
Maybe we can work with the Hudson Youth Department and come up with something interesting, like a little collab.
So
Yeah.
Vanessa did, yeah.
Talk to
And
Vanessa and maybe integrate something from Oakdale.
Right,
this would be good for.
Yeah.
This would be good for.
Exactly, whether,
Is it a Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
is that a weekend?
I don't wanna volunteer her, by the
it
way.
was,
Saturday last
it was
year.
a Saturday last year.
All right, well, see. See what we can do. That's with you, Marie.
Okay,
Speaking of Vanessa, I think she has been doing our Instagram. She's been doing actually very well. And she's not with us, she's not here today, but that's all I have on the list, Instagram. If she's unable to do it, someone else would have to do our Instagramming.
I think she's pulling it.
She's doing it.
Yeah, she's doing it.
So,
It's
there
not
you go.
here, but she's doing it.
I don't know why, so just on the agenda, just something to keep aware of, I guess. Marie,
Yes,
anti-idling law.
okay, so actually, my friend Rebecca Wolf is here. You know what we forgot is that we worked on this.
Right.
We worked on, well, we probably didn't forget, but I remembered the other day that we had in fact worked on this when I first got on the board, I believe. This was a live subject.
Mhm.
And Rebecca Wolf and I met last night to chat about how that kind of, where it landed, and it sort of landed in legal with some issues and sort of died there. But I think that we can address those issues this time around, and I think it's worth beginning that process again. I've got the legislation, Rebecca put it together, you know, this is Rebecca, what is this, 2 years ago now? Are you there, Rebecca?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
It's been, towards the end of 2021.
Yeah, so a while ago. But I think there were some issues about who it applies to. You know, would it apply to sort of somebody just idling, running into
Right,
the
there's
market?
a state law that applies to trucks above a certain size.
Yeah, I think that if the law is specific to commercial vehicles, then that as a start,
Yeah.
then it sort of removes some of the uncertainty about, well, what happens if it's just somebody's car? And I think that the bigger problems really are the diesel engines that are idling for 15, 20 minutes. And I think that's really what this idling legislation should be focused on, are larger vehicles, commercial vehicles, idling particularly, you know.
It is a climate smart.
Absolutely,
Point.
I'm sure it must be.
And so there might be sample documentation out there.
New
But-
York City has a law, I worked on the idling law in New York City 20 years ago, they've had it for a long time.
And I
But-
think,
But the state, I think they have this, but I think they tried to pass a more comprehensive one a few times, the state,
Or the state.
but it hasn't passed, yeah.
Right.
I think
So
the
there must be language we
bigger,
can
I think the
put there.
biggest challenge with a lot of these laws is the, I think that the biggest challenge with a lot of these, with this particular law, like many, is how do you enforce it and who enforces it? But I think if you stick to a small number of class vehicles, if you will, I don't exactly know how you identify commercial vehicles into classes, but I know that they are, then parking enforcement and police would be responsible for certainly issuing warnings, and if the person doesn't move, tickets. I
Right.
mean, the goal is to get the person to turn the car off, right? That's just the bottom line, turn the car off. That's the goal. And so if it's not necessarily giving people tickets, because the ticket is a failure of, the car is still running then.
Right.
So anyway, yeah.
Would this include FedEx and UPS that are going up Warren Street, dropping off? Yeah.
It should. Rebecca, was it a certain number of minutes that that you had to sort of idle? Was that what it was?
In the legislation that was drafted, I believe it, which I haven't reread, I didn't know you were gonna make me talk.
Oh, no, you don't have to. Just
but
sort of,
that-
but there was.
I'm pretty sure there's some kind of time limit, in the
Yeah.
legislation then. Yep.
That makes sense.
3 minutes in the city.
Yeah, I think we even mentioned 3 minutes last night, so 3 minutes sounds right somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think.
3 minutes is kind of a long time when you're sitting in a car.
It's long enough to make your delivery if you're doing FedEx or
Yeah.
UPS.
And drive 50 more feet and idle again.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, well, there is that. Interesting.
Well, I think a lot of the old legislation probably doesn't account for the EVs that are coming to the market slowly. Also
Well,
thinking about,
That's
like,
true.
obviously it's the diesel particulate matter that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
it is
PM 2.5,
particularly
that's
the
worst
diesel
for-
engine.
And new cars don't idle.
Right.
They shut off.
Yeah.
Right.
Even in, for a stoplight,
Yeah.
they shut off and they restart.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is enforcement is that if someone really is running into a store into CVS or something, coming right back out. And if they leave the car idling, you still have to like call, I mean, by the time someone gets there. Yeah,
It's not designed, I think, it wouldn't be designed for, what would you call it, personal vehicles, right? Unless somebody noticed that there was a car idling for significant amounts
Yeah.
of time, you should check that anyway,
right.
because that might suggest that there's something wrong.
Right.
But this is really about, highly polluting larger vehicles, particularly diesel vehicles. idling. And it may not apply to that many vehicles every year, but enough that at least if we, once we have the ordinance, we should get some signs.
Yes.
And that's one way to just at least discourage it and just signal that we take it seriously. You cannot just leave a vehicle, and it, and that applies for state vehicles, Niagara, Mohawk, or whoever it is, our DPW, whoever.
I remember when we were talking about this before, we were talking about having signs about idling. Not that we need any more signs on main thoroughfares in the city, but that we said that the fine would go for planting trees to clean up.
I mean, would the city have to probably approve that, but.
Possibly.
But I like the idea of that.
That could have just been part of our, talking
The
about it.
$400 a year raise and then,
Yeah.
still, that,
And I know for the New York City law, originally, school buses was one of the major targets because a lot of the
Right.
schools were experiencing, having to close all the windows on the street side because all the buses would line up for 20, 30 minutes before
Oh.
pickup. And it was just the diesel exhaust would go right into the schools and all the asthma rates and power limit it was off the
yeah.
charts. So that was one of the main
City
reasons.
buses did the same thing, because I had a friend who lived right near a depot. That was just horrendous.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Old school buses are one of the worst offenders.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the legislation?
Yes, Rebecca sent it to me. I just didn't have a chance to look through it.
Okay.
But we've got model legislation, we've got model, and we've got the legislation that was written specifically for the city. So,
City of Hudson, right, okay,
yeah, for the
great.
city of Hudson, so I will go through that, send it all to all of you, and then next month, assuming that we're happy, we'll vote on, moving it back into the hands of the legal committee. Margaret will get yet another thing from us to work on.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Busy.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Rebecca and
Great.
Marie for bringing this back up and moving.
It was a
along.
very enjoyable conversation, actually. We went to the little cider place in Casper. It was, it was wonderful. My kind of meeting.
That's great. We had an email, do you wanna talk to the email that we got from Linda, the Times Union article?
No, I'll let you do that.
I can't talk to her. Maybe Linda.
About the barges and the river.
The barges.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. No, I've just been so like
I know.
all trees all the time, but I'm like going, what's that email from Linda? That's right. There is, do you know about it?
I know Germantown's been
Right.
fighting for a couple of years, I think. It's the first time I've heard it.
Is this bringing
Context
the
of
oil
this.
and gas up barges?
Wait, yeah, let's go back.
It's a river parking lot.
Parking lot, yeah, parking
Yeah,
lot,
it
yeah.
could include oil, or any other bulk product that's barged.
Alright,
And they have a mismatch between the availability of the tugboats to take them where they need to go. And so this is like a buffering parking lot that they would utilize so as to make the system work better. But the
Yeah.
concern, of course, is that this could have negative effects on the river bottom where they are, as well as the potential spills of something like oil or other substances that we wouldn't want in there. So it is a concern, especially with the areas farther south from us. Once you get up to this part of the river, I have a feeling that it won't be as useful or interesting to the barge hauling companies to utilize, let's say, from the Rip Van Winkle Bridge to Troy for that sort of activity. But, going down to Germantown and farther south, depending on the width of the river and so forth, it becomes more attractive. So it's something that we might want to sort of, go in on, a letter to the authorities that we can add our voice as a municipality, saying we don't think this is a good idea, and at least it should be studied in great detail before they get approval for this.
Imagine it already
There was a
has.
study attached to the email, that talked about how the uniqueness of just south of Hudson to Germantown in terms of deep water and habitat. It seemed, all the, I didn't read it that closely today, but just looking it over, it seemed like this is a particularly unique habitat that there was concern over this particular type of activity,
And there are municipalities as well who draw water from
right?
the river, and I think that those are the ones that are particularly concerned
Right.
with the
Yeah.
parking
Yes.
lot
And
decision.
so any message from us would be in support
In support of their,
of them.
yeah,
One of my concerns about it in general is that unless some agreement is really well done, once they have the permit to do that, there's no reason, nothing holding a company back from just saying, load up the barges, we have a parking lot down there, just keep the merchandise moving until we get an order for it, then we'll call the tug company and get it there. It just becomes.
you mean warehousing barges?
Warehousing.
Okay,
It becomes warehousing on the water at no cost.
that's an
It is
interesting
really-
theory.
I mean, it's, instead of renting an extra warehouse,
Yeah.
we got this spot on the
Warehousing
river.
barges.
So that's where I think the abuse comes in, and I think we're really vulnerable to that happening.
So
We're too
where's,
naive
so
about
is there an actual letter or a place that we can go
We-
to find out?
I have to reread that document that Linda sent and act on it.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
if you've got the anybody could, but
I haven't looked at it, I
there's
haven't seen it
probably,
yet.
I read it like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I
and
just saw the headline of it, I haven't read it.
Yeah, I'm
Alright.
not up on it.
So maybe we'll all digest it and read it, and we'll come back next month and to see what our next action item will be. And then think about maybe writing a letter or a letter campaign, or at least educating the community, you know, like you said, especially about what could happen.
Mhm.
And I'm happy to reach out to some folks in Germantown just to see how they frame their arguments and if they have a letter that you can.
That's good, yeah.
That'd be great.
And where are they looking to put this exactly again?
All over.
On the city, all over.
I'm guessing it must be up and
It
down the
is-
river, right?
Well, no, I think that because I think they're getting so much pushback down further
Yeah.
south, they're just trying the next
Oh,
couple of
exactly.
towns up,
gotcha.
past the Hudson area, or this area.
But I
So
thought
I
that
think
the
we
Army
need to-
Corps had already provided the approval, though, that's the challenge, that's what I thought, that the Army Corps had already said yes to this idea. So the pushback is not, it's almost against what's already been decided, am I wrong about this?
I don't know. I haven't-
I'm pretty sure that the Army Corps of Engineers gave the green light for this.
Well, let's-
Which is the
let's
problem.
see.
Well, the question is, are they the only entity that gets to say?
Right.
Well, I don't know about that.
Because, well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different permits
Sure,
that one has to get if you want to do something on the river, depending on the
Mhm.
nature. of
It'd be
what you do.
interesting to get a community that actually was able to get it pushed out of their community.
Yeah.
Get someone from them to talk to us and say, okay, this is how we got it pushed out of ours. This is how you. get it
Right,
pushed
well,
out."
that's what the folks in Germantown have probably done already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't there talk at one time that it was gonna be around Rhinebeck?
Maybe.
And I think that they might have gotten it.
Push back, because they actually, one of the Hudson Seven, they drink that way, push them.
I'll go drink a glass of it.
Rhinebeck drinks the Hudson, Rhinebeck drinks the Hudson River.
Yeah, there are seven
Yeah.
communities that draw from the Hudson.
Dixie, there's,
the Hudson
yeah.
Seven.
Do they know that our extra sewage goes on the river?
Well, first they do,
No,
but.
they have no
It gets
idea.
treated anyway.
It gets treated, so
They're not just drinking raw, it's river water.
not to worry.
No, that would not be good.
The fish are.
I hope not,
Yeah,
yeah, the
that's
fish are.
All right, let's move on. So.
But I can reach out to Riverkeeper too and see if they have.
That'd be.
Oh, they would
Oh,
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
that's,
have.
that's the place.
They would
to
know,
go.
yes,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
Thank you.
Seneca.
All right, so that's basically all I have. Anyone else have anything?
And
else?
thank you, Linda, for bringing that to our.
Oh,
Yes.
I
thank
have
you.
one brief thing that I'd like to bring up if possible.
And I have one brief thing after.
All right, brief.
Yeah, very brief, because I don't have much to update, other than to say that we also do need to complete the plastics brochure that Rebecca and David Coningberg worked on. I don't know if you remember that there was a plastics brochure that was going to go out to businesses, and it got this close to being completed. I feel like it's low hanging fruit, so Rebecca and I are going to revisit this document. I feel like, could that also have a Climate Smart?
I-
Wonder.
Well, there
anything?
is a public outreach education component to Climate Smart. I mean, there's,
Could we include it maybe?
couldn't hurt to look at the actions.
Yeah,
to
all right,
see
let's
if
see, let's see if that's, but I just wanna mention that I'm gonna sit down with Rebecca and with
All right,
her.
I'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah, put it, yeah, for next month.
What is, I don't understand what.
So there was work done, quite a bit of work done actually, on developing a brochure for businesses to help them to cut back on, single-use plastics, but I think it was just single-use generally, like what would be some of the, I mean, there was even some talk of working with businesses to figure out how to incorporate more composting into the businesses, and I've spoken to a few, that's quite challenging actually, but still, you know, the single-use brochure is so close to being done that it feels like it should just be finished, and
Other communities have just outlawed single-use plastics.
I know.
Well, New
We
York
have not.
State has
Right.
for certain types of plastic, styrofoam in particular.
Right,
Right,
but if you go to Albany and you get a takeout container, it's compostable,
Right, but we don't,
and we just pass a law too.
Right.
well,
there you go.
we absolutely could,
It's Albany County, I think that's quite progressive.
we could actually do that.
Yes,
I mean, that's
Think
another
big.
option,
Right,
rather
right.
than trying to, I think this was probably discussed, maybe it was discussed a couple of years ago and then sort of put on a back burner, but that is certainly something. It would definitely make it easier to ensure success,
other communities have done it.
yeah.
when we were talking about it 2 years ago, I think that we stopped short of wanting to write a law about it. Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm not remembering correctly. Part of it was that we had noticed this incredible influx of takeout containers in the city garbage.
Yes.
And that was because during the pandemic, everything was takeout.
Mhm.
And it was so obvious that we needed all of those containers to be either recyclable or compostable or something like that. And, I'm sorry that the, project got sidelined for, 2 years.
Back burner.
Back
Yeah.
burner. But at that time, it seemed way too harsh to make a law that would be a heavy burden for restaurants when everybody was just trying to survive during the pandemic.
Which clearly is not the case.
And now it's not the case, and so now a law could be the way to just handle it. And we could come up with a brochure that informs people that this is coming and this is why, and put a friendly face to it, or at least a helpful face to it. And with that list of the providers of the
Yeah.
compostable containers
Yeah.
that we had in that pamphlet, and I might have it here on my computer.
And update it, because there might be
And
some-
update it, yeah, so that it's a law, it's coming, here are your resources, this is why. Yeah, so,
I'm good with that, if
it
this,
just, law just was too harsh.
you know, if we wanna pursue that and the council is prepared to pursue that, then yeah, I think it would be obviously much more effective than a brochure that may or may not
Yeah,
have traction.
I agree, and there's a great resource Beyond Plastics, Judith Inks.
Oh, yeah.
Judith Inks,
Sure.
I'm sure
And
she
she's
has
right.
all of the.
Oh, she's up
plastics.
in
she's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Hudson, at the
Yes.
library.
Right.
Oh,
What
when,
is she
when,
doing at the library? What's her?
I don't remember, but I signed up for it.
I
and
think
put it
it's
in my
this Sunday.
calendar.
oh, this Sunday?
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, it
Alright,
is this
okay, so
Sunday.
let's talk
Beyond
about, because I think also we might wanna talk about even, coffee cup covers and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like I myself am a significant contributor to. Oh, yeah,
All right, good, so that was brief, thank you.
yeah.
I have just
Another brief update.
I have it's not an update, but a question.
Question.
As one of the newer members of the CAC, I've been thinking about how the CAC interacts with other parts of local government and, I was thinking recently about like all the controversy around the gravel trucks in Calusa. And I don't know if there was a letter that was sent on behalf of the CAC at some point, or if each of us as individuals can act as our own actors or represent the CAC when there's a issue that comes up related to conservation or environmental concern. And it's just a question, because I don't know what our role is, like when there's a planning meeting that obviously is connected to a conservation question. I don't see us collaborating or attending, and maybe occasionally someone does show up for the other meetings and they show up here. I've just been curious how we all work together, on these.
Right, well, the law that created CACs and EMCs described our role as advisors to the legislature. So certainly that's something that we could take on a more active role in. What we've been doing so far is specific projects that we are recommending, that we plant a tree, that we, make a new law and so forth. So it's all part of the same possibilities.
I mean, I think it's a really interesting question. I do think that it would mean shifting our emphasis somewhat, because you can't do both, I think. Both, I mean, feel like there's just not enough.
We could write a letter.
Sure.
Well, I do think we need to go back and revisit the list of, there's 10 things that CACs do, and
They cut us off, Linda.
I'm here too. What's going on? This is weird. It's
Does it-
on my screen, it said Carol Osterink is the host now.
Well,
Now
oh,
it
here we
says
go.
Michael Hoffman is the host.
He's back.
one business specific. If we were talking about all restaurants or all gravel companies or all, this or that, then we felt comfortable, weighing in on an issue. But we did, I do remember, and I sent it around to the whole CAC, we all agreed that we needed to comment on when, on that project, they wanted to do the Hall Road. And we kept our comments about the North Bay and never using herbicides or anything that would, I can't remember, there are two different things. We weighed in during the seeker process, that these were really big concerns of ours, all these environmental issues. But at the one of the large planning board meetings recently that was specifically on that topic, I did stand up and talk. And I did say I was talking as a private citizen, but that I'd been very involved with the Conservation Advisory Council. And And, you know, so I let it be known that I am part of this group, but I wasn't representing this group. But I sort of used it to, you know, let it be known that my concerns are really wide about the environment. So I don't know if that,
Yeah, that's helpful. It was something that has been coming up for me. I've just been curious how.
The other.
that doesn't mean it was the right answer.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, and
So
then another side of the question that occurs to me is our input useful in a particular situation? Because there are, people in the community who have done, I think, a pretty good job of making the case that the, Hall Road is, the plans that Colarusso had for it are inappropriate, that the actions that they took on their pier were out of spec with the law. And that they're making the arguments with a very detailed knowledge of what leverage that we have as a city when confronted with this situation. And which then to me means what are we gonna add to the conversation that would make a difference there. And I'm not seeing that we have anything new or different angle to play there.
When does the planning board make a decision?
It's not been publicly determined. But we expect by the end of the year.
So do we wanna, people wanna get together, write a letter? Or what do we feel like doing? Because we'd have to do something before a decision is made, right?
I'm good with writing a letter. I don't know enough of, I mean, I would sign it. I have to admit that my knowledge of this, as Michael was saying, is probably, you know, significantly less than lots of people who've been involved in this for.
So you got that from the plan already.
Yeah, no, I'm saying possibly all of us may be in that boat, you know?
Right, I mean, right.
oh, I've been pretty on top of it.
So, you know, if there's a letter to be written to Hillary,
Is
I don't know
someone-
that Hillary
okay,
wants
let's
another
focus,
thing
let's
to do.
focus. Does someone want to take this project on and write a letter and present it to the next CAC meeting?
No.
Who wants to take this on? You already said no,
I
you already
can't,
said no. Anyone else? Going once?
I'd be happy to, I mean, I'd be happy to connect with you, Hillary, to find out a little bit more and I can pull together a draft to share.
Or,
There's a lot of materials out there. It's more, it seems like as a body, we should have influence on the planning process. Sean's shaking his head, but maybe as like a advisory body to the city of Hudson, I would think the planning department should want to know what we think about this proposal.
Yes.
Okay.
Just fair point
So-
blank. That's, that should be the case. I
So.
don't know if that's if it's a reality, but it seems
not
like.
just that, this is a complicated one.
Yeah.
There are
Oh,
lots of little
for
things,
sure. There's
right?
so
You
much
know, there are
politics.
lots
I
of
get
things,
that.
yeah.
I get that.
Right, I mean, we kept it to an ecological standpoint.
Yeah.
Great. So would you 2, 3 be willing to take this aside and come back next month?
I'd be happy to, but you have time, and I mean, I'm happy to.
I will make time.
Thank you.
I think Michael's got his hands full.
Okay. Thank you for entertaining that conversation.
Tom has his hand up.
Oh, Tom has his hands up. Tom,
Or is he just stretching?
I don't know.
No.
Tom,
Stretching. The Conservation Advisory Commission is a advisory council to the legislative body, as Michael says. And the legislative body is the council. It is not the planning board.
well,
The planning board, you should not be writing to the planning board as a group,
Okay,
in my opinion. Somebody might, I mean, certainly individually, you can write whatever you want. But I don't think you should perceive yourself as being advisors to the planning board. That's what they have, consultants for, and they're an independent body. That's the main point.
Fair enough.
I mean, and that goes back to what you said, Hillary, about the 10 things that the CAC. I
Right.
do agree that, yes, we're here to advise the legislative body.
Mhm.
It's a stretch to probably say to the planning
That
board.
makes, I just,
If,
the clarity was not.
if the planning board is not, I guess, the legislative body, yeah,
Yeah, right.
it's just interpretive of the laws.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And we can go back and double check that, but I mean, I do that.
I would say that it probably doesn't preclude the planning board from asking for your thoughts on a project, right? Like, that's totally feasible. But I think, as Tom says, an unsolicited letter from the CAC may not be received very well.
Or just ignore.
Or is in, is actually, or in our purview.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
all right, well, we can double check that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
that's it. All right, anything else going once, going twice, 7:04?
Woo-hoo. That's exactly what I.
Well done.
Started. Yeah.
I know, I would have interrupted people and I would have moved along. If we were not on schedule, I would have moved this along quicker, but we were on schedule.
I disagree. It's 7:07.
Yeah, 7:07.
Oh, you know what, my clock, I haven't set it correctly. That's what happens when you have.
Oops, I got
Over
over
an hour.
All right,
Alright,
motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right, there we go. Thank you very much. Thanks for
Thank
playing,
you.
everyone. Have a good day. Next month.
Thank you, everyone.
thank you. Thank you for.
And thank you,
thank
Hillary.
for
We
coming.
got more
Rebecca
trees have
and
been planted in the
Carol
city of Hudson.